Welcome again to Noble, a platform that connects people through human stories. Today, I want to talk about a personal story. Of course, there's a series that are coming up. We call it The Leap. So in The Leap, I'm simply sharing a personal story of the reason why I am here, the reason why I'm coming to your space to give you an opportunity to share your story and also to listen to my story, and opportunity to also talk about a number of things, among them books, life, mental health, relationships, and so forth. So today I want to first of all wish you a happy new year and say that new year, each new year represents itself a moment when you just sit down and reflect and you want to ask yourself the bigger questions. This happened to me in 2021 after I lost my mother, and then I was sitting somewhere and I wanted to do a number of reflections on myself, on my life. Then I asked myself the ultimate question: who am I and what am I here to do? For some reason, I realized that teaching was not going to give me an opportunity to be the person that I wanted to be. So worth mentioning is that I had taught for a number of years. I had been to my former school, Sega Township Secondary School, where I did my Form 4. I went back as an old boy to teach. That was a great connection. I began connecting with my former teachers, understanding what teaching is, connecting with the students, and deep down, I was building what I termed my purpose. Then I went on to a very small school that up to date, I say, is a school that transformed my perception as a teacher. That is St. Alfred Kogere Mixed Secondary School. Here, I was teaching boys and girls from very poor backgrounds, people that I could really connect with. And the purpose of a teacher here was so demanding. Your role as a teacher was more than just going to class and teach, and therefore it presented to me a space and an opportunity to practice that which I was born for. I've always believed that I was born for the young people, for the young generation, to share my stories, my experiences. And then I went to Agoro Sare. This is a very big school, almost a national school. And the experience here was really amazing because I was meeting students who, are bright, people that you won't push around, people who are highly disciplined, and the environment was highly competitive, both to the students and the teachers, because you had to produce results. The school was meant for success, and I loved my experience there because it equipped me to work with the best teachers nationally and also to work with one of the best schools in this nation. And years later, I moved to Ugenya High School, and I think I've stayed here the longest. It's the school where I've stayed the longest. So the time I was at Ugenya High School, it connected me to young boys, visionary boys, some poor, some rich, and I had an opportunity to work with parents of different kinds. And so when I lost my mom, I got to a point where I asked myself, who am I, or what do I want to do? That ultimate question brought about what I termed the mental disruption, because I realized that, for one, teaching was not going to give me the freedom that I needed. I am somebody who doesn't like to be grounded in one space. I like moving. I like going to meet other people. I like hearing a number of human stories, and the school system, the teaching system, was not going to provide me with that opportunity. So what did I do? I closed my eyes and I said, I'm going to make a few phone calls to my friends and ask them if the decision that I was going to make was worth it or was the right decision. Of course, this came as a panic. I was panicking. I was trying to, affirm that whatever I am about to do was the right thing. And so I made few calls to my friends who are doing online writing here and there. I told them, I'm coming to the city. I don't have a job. I'm just coming to figure out what I am going to do. And therefore, if you have a few jobs here and there, you can throw it my way. I can throw my weight into online writing. And so many people affirmed me, oh man, you're doing the right thing. I mean, just come to the city. We will see how we go about it. My bigger idea was that I wanted to be in media. I wanted to be on radio, on TV. It has been my dream. I grew up watching Oprah Winfrey and I love the Oprah Winfrey Show. Oprah has been that idol in my mind. Even today, as I do this, much more of Oprah is right there, sitting somewhere, watching me, imagining me doing it. So I always wanted to have a talk show. I always wanted to be in a talk show or simply work in a TV or a radio, have my voice there, share my ideas there. So the greatest people I've watched growing up are people who have been on TV, like Njoroge Mwauras, Beatrice Marshall, Ramanyang. Those are the people I grew up really, really admiring and saying, one time or one point in time, I want to be just like them. So when I took the leap coming to the city, what was in my head was that I was going to make it in a media house, but I didn't know what it took to get there until I came to the city, and then reality dawned. And worth mentioning is that among the friends I called, I had a special friend. He's called Sam Budoi. He's a guy who finally told me, you know what, I want you to pack your bags and come to the city. I have a place, you're gonna stay there as you figure out yourself. And this was like a brotherly welcome. And in the city, life is not that easy. To have somebody who can host you, feed you, give you a space where you can, lay yourself down as you go hustling. It was not something that I took for granted, and I really appreciated. And I had to come because he had believed in me. He's somebody who had affirmed me over and over, believed in what I was doing in the community, working with the community-based organizations and so forth. So I decided to pack my bags, come to the city. The phone calls that I was making and the people that were assuring me, to some extent, some of them did not pick my calls when eventually I told them, hey bro, here I am, I'm in the city, can you find something for me, and so forth. So I began job hunting, and I found myself working in an NGO, that is a Global Peace Foundation, before eventually I moved to Emerging Leaders Foundation. So to gain my experience, I needed to intern, because that's how the world of NGOs are. You cannot come outside the NGO and walk in and be given something to do. No, they first of all want to train you to understand how the structures are, how everything works. So when I finally landed my job at Emerging Leaders Foundation Africa, I wanted to share this, that there is something we call the social capital. It took my social capital to know the right people to call. When I was in the city, there's so many people that I was calling who are connecting me to different opportunities. Some were not pleasing to me, and that's why maybe I never took them up, but some eventually brought forth something that now I can say I am proud of. For example, Sam connected me to, my friend Sam Budoi connected me to Global Peace Foundation, where I eventually did internship for a few months before I moved to Emerging Leaders Foundation. So the social capital is something that we should not take for granted. The people that you have in your circle, do you ask yourself, what value can this person add to me? But it's one thing to have a social capital, and it's another thing to invest in that social capital. What are you doing with your social capital? Are you reaching out to them? Are you calling them? Are you checking on them and everything? Is your presence felt within their lives? What are you doing that puts your memory, puts your memory in their minds? So that's the bigger question, again, that you need to ask yourself when you're talking about social capital. Then, when you're talking about friends, Malcolm Gladwell talks about what we call the weak ties in the book Outliers. And he says that your weak ties, or the people he called the acquaintances, connects you to opportunities more than the strong ties or people within your very small circle or the people you call your friends, because your friends go to the same churches with you. You go clubbing together, you play basketball or football in the same neighborhood, you live in the same neighborhood. Sometimes they don't even look at you and see the greatness that lies within you. They don't even take seriously the potential that you have. They don't even understand your desires, and therefore it takes a weak tie, somebody who is connected to you as an acquaintance, to understand that you truly are desiring this, or this is the person that you are in life. So that is the first part of the leap, and I've just told you how, one, I took the end year to reflect on myself and ask myself the ultimate question of who am I and what do I want to do. It brought a mental disruption that finally landed me to the city, and I am here today doing exactly what I thought I wanted to do, and this is just the beginning of the journey. Thank you.